Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 3 of the Gallop Out. I'm your host, Ryan Anderson, live from the Del Mar press box. Today, I have the pleasure of being joined by the leading trainer in North America from 2014 through 2019, racking up 4,900 career wins in his entire career. That is the trainer, Karl Broberg. Karl, how's it going? Good afternoon.
Doing great. Happy to be with you.
Yeah, thanks for joining me. Repping the Del Mar shirt, available down in the gift shop. I have one of the same. It's a great shirt.
It is.
Excited to get to talk with you today. I know we met briefly at the, I believe it was the qualifier for the Pacific Classic handicapping tournament that's going on tomorrow that you'll be participating in. Pretty much any handicapping contest you enter into, you're always up towards the top end of that leaderboard. So it's always fun to see.
Or I'm completely gone. There's never any in between.
No in between, just top or bottom. If you ain't first, you're last type of a run. Awesome. We're gonna break down the 9th, 10th, and 11th races at Del Mar tomorrow. That's the Green Flash Handicap, the Pacific Classic, the Grade 1 Pacific Classic, and the Grade 2 Del Mar Mile. Excited to talk about those with you. But first, I do want to, just mention that you are a recently retired thoroughbred trainer. I mentioned kind of at the top of the show, you led America, all of America, in wins from 2014 to 2019, which is an incredible accomplishment. 2019 getting a career high 548 winners. That's incredible. As I understand it now, you're going to focus on breaking young 2-year-olds.
Correct. I've got a training facility there in Benton, Louisiana. It's got a beautiful 5/8 track, great surface, and just going to try to focus on younger horses and quality and see what we can do to help people out.
That's awesome. Best of luck in that next stage of your career. I'm sure you'll be as successful as you were in your training.
It won't be
exactly. It won't be for lack of trying. I first got into racing in 2019, and then just kind of stuck with it from there. And 2020 obviously was COVID year, but there wasn't much else to do other than kind of bet on sports, and horse racing was kind of my main go-to. So I would be looking at Lone Star Park when that was available. I would obviously Fairgrounds was a big track, Oaklawn Park. But your name would be everywhere, and it was always end of the race. You're up there at the top 2 finishers more often than not. So I was pretty familiar with your name early on, just by the amount of consistency you had and visits to the winner's circle.
King of the cheap stuff there for a few years.
Hey, winning is winning. There's no shame in any part of that. So that was awesome. Again, thanks for joining me. I'm super excited, and without further ado, let's get on into this awesome card that we have today, or rather tomorrow, out here at Del Mar. We're going to start off with the Grade 3 Green Flash Handicap. I'll put our picks up on the board, and we're a little similar, but we differ in some places. I see the race 3-9-8, and you see the race 8-1-11. We'll go ahead and start with the number 8 horse, your top pick, and my third choice. That's No Nay Hudson, trained by Wesley Ward, ridden by Juan Hernandez in this spot. What did you kind of see in this horse that attracted you to him?
Well, first off, I could have easily be swayed in many different directions in here, and probably will by tomorrow. But since that's the one I gave you, we'll just go ahead and pretend that one actually has a chance. Wesley Ward has to be bringing this horse here for a reason. But what a tough race to figure out. And when you look at the clocker reports for No Hay Hudson, it's hard to get too excited about it, but his body of work, it's Wesley Ward. It just makes a lot of sense in this spot.
Without a doubt. That's kind of how I saw it as well. Has been pretty decent at the flat 5, 4 in the money out of 8 tries. So about a good 50% there. I'm with you in that case, where this horse is definitely in with a good shot. This race was probably the hardest on the card, in my opinion. And that's kind of what took me to the number 3, Sassy Nature. I was here when this horse won last time out. Freysu was aboard that day. We have Cedillo on board tomorrow. Freysu, there was a lot of pace signed on in this race, and Fresu just was aggressive from the rail, took the advantage, and just took them all the way. Was shortening up a little late, but had enough left in the tank to finish it off in an open length victory. So I'm taking him right back here. Second time for Luis Mendez, who is a pretty strong trainer in the sprint category. Obviously, he's really strong with his 2-year-olds, but I feel like here, Cedillo on the lead, turf or dirt, is a pretty strong confidence, has a lot of confidence from me. So I'm thinking, similar trip. Sassy Nature's going to send out and hopefully be able to see it out. That's kind of how I saw with the number 3, and number 3 is a 15-1. None Hudson, I believe, is 8-1, 6-1. Excuse me, so 6-1. This race definitely feels like it could be a separator in the tournament tomorrow. There's a million different places to go. The favorites are all kind of drawn towards the outside there. And before we get to the number 11, which is one of the top choices, we have number 1, Fast Buck, that you have as your second choice. What did you see here?
Well, it comes out of the same race as your top pick, Sassy Nature. It's really going to be about the break for him. The last 2 breaks were not that good. Breaking from the rail is going to make that even tougher. But if he were to break, then he's right there in this race. And also out of the same race is Daniel's Magic, the 4. That horse had a very tough trip when you're chasing lone speed and stalked wide throughout. Boy, I'm hoping your Sassy Nature, that turns out to be a key race, because even though from a who they've faced perspective, I just think several of those inside horses that are all big prices are very live in this race.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that's a great observation. I certainly share the same hope with you that I hope this is a key race, because I think coming out of here, that was a weirdly run race last time out, and yeah, you were chasing the lone speed, or what ended up being the lone speed, and then it kind of just yeah, we'll see how it kind of plays out with them. A lot of these guys getting their second start off the bench. I'll go quickly to number 9, and that's Connie Swingle. Love this horse last time out. I was surprised we got a little over 4-1 in the Daisy Cutter. Obviously, coming off a 2-year layoff was pretty substantial, but I thought this horse was just kind of classier than the others. Came back in a nice way. Obviously, drew pretty nice with the 2-hole. Going 5 furlongs, it is beneficial to be on the inside. But coming right back here, I mean, this horse is 2 for 2 at Del Mar, going the flat 5 furlongs. So horse for course angle and distance specialist for me. D'Amato and Kyle Frey hitting 25% with a 275 ROI for the meet. Comes in off a bullet drill on August 25th with the dogs out here at Del Mar. So I'm just taking the form. Comes back with a career best off 2 years. So I'm hoping that's not a fluke, and I'm hoping we get right back in the winner's circle with number 9, Connie Swingle. Going to your third pick, that is number 11, Johnny Padres. I love this horse as a deep closer. What did you see with this pick here?
You're going to get the right price here, and this is just one of those things. Hoping the race completely falls apart, and we'll just be absolutely rolling late. Probably going to have too much to do, but definitely has a chance at what's going to be bigger than 8-1 odds, I would suspect.
Absolutely. I'm in agreement with you on that one. You are going to get a very square price on this horse. Will be flying late, can definitely make up all types of ground. You see last time out going the 5 furlongs. They went a little slow for this course. 23 to the first quarter is not very quick. I think we're going to be looking at 22-1, maybe even faster, depending on how some of the other speed horses break. So it might set up. And that last race, the non-2 that he's coming out of, he was flying late. He made up a ton of ground late in the stretch and just missed at the wire, galloped out in front of the other horses. So I definitely split the pick with Johnny Padres. I loved him coming down the hill at Santa Anita. I think that really hit him between the eyes, where he was able to really use that late kick of his to his best advantage. But yeah, we're going to find out tomorrow with Johnny Padres here going the flat 5. This is a very intriguing, very tough race. So it could go any direction here, and we really did. Aside from the Nene Hudson pick, we were all, we picked different directions. Moving on to the
Absolutely.
big one. Oh, yeah. Moving on to the big one tomorrow. That is the Grade 1 Pacific Classic. Of course, for anyone that hasn't heard, Adair Manor, the mare in this race, was scratched out earlier this morning. Today's Friday. So, unfortunately, that leaves us a little bit more wide open. However, in my opinion, that kind of made the race a tad bit more competitive because I did think Adair Manor, at least to me, was a pretty would have been a tough favorite to beat. But with the scratch now, you land on number 5, Katona, trainee by Doug O'Neill, ridden by Tiago Pereira.
Yeah. And I had Dr. Venkman the last time when they met in the San Diego handicap. And I was just so impressed coming off a layoff like that. The effort that this horse put in. I'm hoping they get silly early. And I just think that this one has a legitimate chance to run him down. I mean, we're talking about a second out back off of a year layoff. Horse ran huge and just could be any kind. I mean, he's obviously had some physical infirmities with multiple lengthy layoffs. And from a class perspective, it's going to be a test. But this horse just ran really big. And you're going to get, once again, fair odds on arguably one of the more live chances in the race, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's a great observation. That's kind of what led me to pick him second. I did think, that coming out of the handicap and then, second off the long layoff here, I think that's going to be real beneficial for this horse. Was entered in this race, last year, but clearly had some sort of setback that put him on the bench up until right now. So, coming back with that 98 Beyer speed figure, finishing the second to Dr. Venkman, who I did not have last time out. I faded him going the 2 turns for the first time. I was wrong. That one, yeah, he bit me pretty good because he finished like a monster, and he finished like the added ground is not going to be a problem. Although no surprise being out of Ghost Zapper. I'll touch on real quickly with Dr. Venkman, and then we'll get to our third choice in here, or our second and third choice respectively in here. Dr. Venkman, handled a 2-turn test with flying colors. Fresu looks comfortable aboard, 3 for 3 at Del Mar. Becomes the horse to beat with the scratch of Adair Manor. Mark Glatt obviously having a super Del Mar meet as he typically does. So it's gonna be a tough horse to beat, but I think, again, with that scratch of Adair Manor, I think that really opens things up here.
Very much so.
Number 1 is I have him third. You have him second. That's Ir Miracolo, trained by Antonio Sano. Just ran in the Iceland Stakes a couple of weeks ago, so kind of quick turnaround. But flying out to the West Coast, got to think this is a Breeders' Cup prep. How did you see him here?
I think that if you get 4-1 or better, then this is actually the horse you're supposed to play, just because of the company that he's kept. The fact that they're bringing him back this fast can only be perceived as a good sign. Did come back with front wraps, but he'd worn them in the past, so that didn't concern me too much, especially since they're willing to run right back. I could see him possibly being right there just off of it every step of the way. And we know the way this Del Mar meet's gone. I mean, often it's just like a conveyor belt. So just hard to not like him.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, this is a hard trying horse. Has been right there in a lot of big races. Couple grade 1s, has not really been close at the finish, but if I'm being honest, this seems like a race that's grade 1 in name only at this point. Not a whole lot of strength. Yeah, not a whole lot of strength in the entries. So just from looking at it, this might be Ir Miracolo's spot. Comes out here again off the short layoff, but hey, we're going to find out. Maybe we'll get a good shot in with this horse, and maybe it's this horse's time for the spotlight. Because hard trier in the money 14 of 21 times. Gonna try the 1.25 mile distance for the first time, so that's gonna be a bit of a test. But out of the gun runner sire Tappet mare, distance shouldn't be any type of problem um, in this race here. Real quick before we move on to the Del Mar Mile, I think this horse obviously is probably going to be the pace setter at this point. Full Serrano for John Sadler. Just wanted to kind of get your thoughts on this horse. If you think he can is capable of the step up. Obviously, Sadler is pretty familiar with the winner's circle in this race.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that, but I don't know. I don't think he's that kind. But it's hard to handicap a horse that spent. For me, it's hard to handicap a horse that spent most of its time in Argentina.
Right. I'm in complete agreement. Yeah, it's hard to tell exactly what kind of form we're gonna get with him out here, but he looked good running that full first time out in the States. So I guess we'll just kind of see what the future holds for him.
That was a non-2 that was coming at him late there.
Mm-hmm.
That had broke its maiden at Delm. I don't see it, but hopefully he'll ensure a fast pace to give mine a chance to get up, and hopefully Katona can overcome the distance limitations that breeding would suggest he might have.
Yeah, absolutely. It could set up very nicely for that horse. Going to be an interesting Pacific Classic, nonetheless. Even though we may not have those A+ superstars, someone's going to stamp their name on this year. So excited to watch it as always. Moving on to the last race here. Kind of like how we saw this. We both have the same horse in second. I saw the race 319. You saw the race 413. We'll start with your top pick. That's going to be Almendaris, Philip D'Amato trainee for Fresu.
Yeah. This horse has had some interesting trips. Could have easily won more. Looks a little slow if you're just looking at buyers or the sheets, but they scratched out of the allowance race yesterday, where they would have been probably one of the co-favorite. So horse is obviously doing well to choose this spot, and my biggest fear with him is that he might have too much work to do, because this pace might not be too hot tomorrow.
Yes, I agree, and I think we're kind of looking at the similar angle for the Green Flash. How the Wicker Stakes, we're probably hoping that's a pretty key race coming out of here, because we're meeting a lot of the same foes rather.
Very much so. Yes.
My top pick, it was nothing too creative. It's Du Jour, Bob Baffert trainee on the turf, which is not typically where he has the most amount of success. However, this horse is a monster on turf. Great going the mile. This horse has beat me just about every time he's run and won, because I don't know. I never quite got behind this horse, but I think the mile hits him between the eyes. He's 3 for 4 in the money at Del Mar, 2 firsts and a second in 4 attempts. So feels like today's the time for me, or tomorrow's the day rather. If he doesn't get it done, then he doesn't get it done. But I think this distance again hits him between the eyes. The one concern is, as you mentioned, we're not really sure how much pace is going to be in this race. Maybe he's not got much tactical speed. He's going to be coming from 5, 6, 7 lengths off of it, going the mile. So you really got to hope for some pace and hope things heat up on the front end. But it'll be interesting to watch. This is another great betting race. This card tomorrow is spectacular. So I'm looking forward to just, watching it as a fan of horse racing in addition to the betting side. But definitely hoping we can get some winners. Want to talk about your horse, or want to let you talk about this horse that we have in second. That's number 1, Astronomer, ridden by Kazushi Kimura, trained by Simon Callahan.
I look for him to be much more forwardly placed tomorrow with the rail draw, and there's no way you're going to get the 20-1 again this time. I mean, he ran a better race than First Piece did last out, even though he finished a length and a quarter behind him. The value on this horse is just, it's going to be incredible if the stays true to the morning line there. And he's faced quality foes, and I can see him being right there all of the way. I mean, I really like this horse tomorrow.
Absolutely. I share the same opinion as you in this race. Should be a lot closer up in this spot here. Um, yeah, drew the 11 hole last time out and still ran a pretty good race. As you mentioned, first piece had the better run of the two and finished just kind of right up behind him. Um, yeah, that Wicker Stakes. I'm hoping again. It's a key race leading into this because I think Astronomer. I think we will probably get some value just because they're kind of low profile connections. They did hit, I believe, earlier on this meet, and that's where the 1 for 3 comes in with the 713 ROI. I believe they hit on a horse that knocked me out of my pick 5 on the get out leg, but hopefully tomorrow, Astronomer is definitely going to be on my ticket. Just because, again, I think this is a real dangerous horse coming back in this spot.
Very true.
Real quick here as we wrap up. I did also kind of land on the 9. Little worried about the outside draw, obviously, but something that attracted me to this horse was the fact that there's not a ton of pace, and this horse is going to be forward, much like Astronomer should be tomorrow. This horse should have a good chance to get kind of first jump on those deep closers, to which there are a good handful of those in here. So that kind of landed me on first piece. Again, Mike Smith, not sure the type of trip we're going to get worked out. I'm hoping he can save some ground, maybe get close to the rail, maybe the 2 path, and I'll feel semi-confident. But this race goes pretty deep. We have, Exalted drawn to the outside. Doesn't quite have the form that he did last year when he first switched over to the turf. That really seemed to wake him up. We have a bunch of Phil D'Amato trainees, as is to be expected. And then, another horse I want to touch on just before we wrap up. I thought Flashiest might deserve a quick look. Also coming out of the Wicker Stakes, also coming from, well out of it. Did you see him with any sort of an underneath chance?
1 for 9 at Del Mar in the win column. And I just don't see the pace being what it would need to be for him to be there. He was a toss for me for a trainer that's gotten hot lately. So knowing my luck, I will be wrong, and he will be rolling at the end and beat me out of everything.
Yeah, that's Leonard Powell has had a good meet the past couple weeks here as he's really started to heat up and find his form with those horses, with those runners. Awesome. Well, those are the 3 cards. Again, just to put the picks down at the bottom, in the green flash, I took the 3 on top with the 9-8 underneath. You were taking the 8 on top with the 111 underneath in a great betting race. To touch on the Pacific Classic, I have Dr. Venkman on top winning. You have Katona on top, and we both have underneath. I have 5-1. You have 1-3. Again, with the late scratch of Adair Manor just announced this morning. And then right here, race 11, I go 3-1-9. This is the one we just touched on, and then you go 4-1-3. So great betting race on the card. As I'm sure you've looked at the rest of Saturday's card. Outside of these 3 stakes, do you have a race you're most looking forward to?
I really don't. Although I do hope in the tournament that I have such a lead, I can just watch those last 3 and not even have to put any of my wagering dollars to work and just enjoy them for the great races they are. But
Absolutely. That's all.
That's not going to happen.
Hey, you never know till the races get run. Best of luck to you tomorrow. That's an awesome tournament to be a part of. Hope to see you on site tomorrow for Del Mar as well for Pacific Classic Day. I look forward to that. Thank you, Karl.
Thank you. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, that was awesome. I look forward to seeing you out here maybe later today, definitely tomorrow. Best of luck, and we'll talk to you soon.
See you in a bit. Bye.